Welcome to the 710 cast. This is going to be an hour where three friends get together and talk about all things engines, whether it's going to fly, roll, or float. Tonight, we are going to just be getting into who we are, what the 710 cast is going to be, what the idea of it is, and a little bit about ourselves. So I will introduce my other co-hosts for the evening. We have Tama, or Tamarack,
Hello.
and we also have Kaji.
Yes, hi.
So, gentlemen, we're going to get into this. Let's go ahead and let me look at our stuff here. Yeah, let's just talk about ourselves a little bit first. Let's let the people know who we are. Let's let the people know what we're doing and where we come from. I can start off if there's no
Well,
arguments
clearly
against
it's got to be me because it's all about me. No, you lead it, Chief. Go on.
it. And no, if you want to jump in there, man, you go on. You
Get
can
on
jump
it.
in.
Go.
All right, fine. I am your resident coyote. I am a Chicagoland area resident. I don't say I'm from Chicago because people who are actually from Chicago might shoot me for it. So we're just Chicagoland area. I work as a ranger. Weirdly enough, I have an automotive background as well. I was a service writer and a reconditioning manager for probably about 4.5, 5 years at a Dodge Chrysler Jeep dealership down in Florida somewhere. And I've generally, probably since the age of 13, 14 years old, have been a car nut, for starting out with just looking at different cars and being able to say, oh, that's a this, to then just expounding upon knowledge from there. And my nerdery has not stopped since. Next up.
After you, Kaji, please.
Oh, goodness. All right. I'm Kaji. I am an Australian. I am specifically from Melbourne, the best city in the world, with the best coffee. And we have a whole bunch of hot vehicles down here. Never used to be the case. There were pockets, though, and I grew up kind of in one of those pockets. My uncle was pretty much a head tech at an Alfa Romeo specialist workshop. So I got to see all sorts of interesting things growing up as well, because there weren't really specialist techs for the major Italian brands here at that point that weren't official. And Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati, etc. dealerships were extremely expensive. So I, as a young bloke, got to see a lot of that interesting stuff. And it kind of piqued my interest, but it fell off a little bit until I hit my early teens, and then, hormones, and all of a sudden I was back into cars. I've owned a few interesting vehicles over the years, and own a few interesting vehicles now, and just generally obsess over the details, which is probably why I like cars so much. They vary so much. But professionally, I work on trains. There is one fox
Trains.
to introduce himself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's me then.
Yes.
So, hello. My name is Tamarack, and I am a fox. My friends call me Tama, which means you all may too. I live in the Midwest US, specifically the Nebraska land area. I'm an aircraft mechanic and a licensed private pilot with instrument and complex ratings, currently working toward my commercial rating.
Ah, yes.
Prior to
Cosmic
that,
show.
I was a. Hey, it's me. I was a truck driver for about 11 years, hauling refrigerated goods, cars, flatbed stuff, and also hazmat. Prior to that, I spent about 8 years as an automotive service advisor and a mechanic, and I've also been a motorcyclist since 2006. My
Nice.
gateway drug into the automotive world was the original Gran Turismo. I am that old.
Oh boy, that dragged me back in as well.
Yep.
Let's be honest.
Gran Turismo 2, really, but yes, the early Gran Turismo. It was still on the old gray PlayStation block.
One of the things I did love about the original Gran Turismo was the book that you got with it that told you all about the cars and how to drive them.
Yeah, and it was so realistic, just the finest in racing simulation.
There's
It's
air
pretty
quotes
good
around
for a
that one.
PlayStation.
Big ones,
But-
big clanking air quotes.
Yes.
It did teach you about understeer and oversteer if you cared enough to play with it, though.
A bit. So, since you've got my pretty face up on the screen right now, I guess I can talk about what currently resides in my stable.
Yeah, I'll pop Kaji up there real quick just so they know what that man's looks like as well. That is
Look at
our
him.
boy from the Aussie desk. All his fancy, pretty flames around him. And too
I
many
like that.
tails.
Let's see your handsome self.
Ah, yes, me. Well, let's see if I can pull something up here.
Choose wisely. There he is.
It works. That's a decent one. I still
And
need more.
Yotie.
Okay,
Always
let's
more.
get into Tamarack. You want to go ahead and talk about your stable, your where you came from, what you had, what you currently have.
Oh, you want me to go all the way? Well, let's talk about what's currently living there.
Yeah, let's get some current in there.
So the current daily driver is a very boring old lady mobile, a 2007 Lincoln MKZ. Just look at it.
In all of its glory.
Look at it.
With it has heated and cooled seats from 2007. I was tickled by that.
Boy, are they delightful, especially the cooled seats. Whew.
Oh, it's nice. And yep, and it's got an enormous trunk boot for those of you across the pond.
Now, what are we thinking? Because I mean, I always knew growing up, especially with the different kinds of cars that I've owned in the past, some of those being Cadillacs, Lincolns, the bigger ones that have those bigger, gigantic trunks. What's your body count there? And I'm thinking, like, by after looking at it, like, you could ergonomically fit about 5 in there if you're
I
really
think
pushing for
so.
it.
It might make the rear end sag a bit, but
That's
and it's
okay. Just say you
tasteful.
need new shocks if the cob pulls you over. You'll be fine.
Yeah, and they're
It's
not
not a
going to pull
Mark
that
8.
over.
It's not a Mark 8. Settle down. So then the actual only interesting vehicle I currently own is a 2006 Triumph Speed Triple 1050
That will
for
get
when
you
I
moving.
don't feel like being an old man.
After having owned many, there is no shame in an old man car.
And that motorcycle will be having some upgrades coming to it very soon, so stay tuned for that.
I'm very excited about those. I'm glad to know that parts are on the way and things are happening and moving forward for you.
Finally.
Finally.
So, if do we really want to go through my entire vehicle history?
I don't think, well, we could do highlights if you'd like. I know I have pictures of the one.
Well, that we'll talk about that later. But
Okay.
how about the first car? What was your first car?
We can do first
Uh,
cars at the end of our intro section, sure. Or at the end of our
so
introduction to the
my
stable.
my very first car when I turned 16 years old was a 1990 Chevy Cavalier 2-door, 4-cylinder with a 4-speed automatic
That is a first car, all right.
in rattle can gray.
Rattle can grey.
You went for the classy option.
Say it with Krylon. Now it's someone else's turn.
Yep. Kaji, why don't you go ahead? I started this thing out. You get to go next.
Maybe, but I'm currently also sending you photos in the background of my other cars. So if you go, I'll be able to work on this.
That works for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
cheating on a
Sneaky.
technicality.
I'm not trying
That
to
works.
cheat.
That works. So
Fixing things.
I have, unfortunately, mine is going to be a very, very fast introduction. If I can find where it went. The picture I downloaded of my car has disappeared.
Look at us being professional.
I mean, that's just kind of how we do, though, right?
We were so prepared for this.
Oh, wait, desktop.
This
There it
is
is.
how
Nope,
we
found
do
it. So, what I am presently driving is there up on the screen now. It's nothing terribly exciting, but it is, let me tell you, an absolute tank. Because this picture here, I had already owned it for about 1.5 years or so, maybe closer to 2 years. And that's how I kept it back then, just nice because I worked at a reconditioning shop. That was 10 years ago that this picture was taken. I still drive this. It is much a little more worn now. It's got a few more miles on it, specifically about 100,000 more miles on it than it did. We just turned over 191K the other day. So that is a 2005 Toyota 4Runner. It is a Florida truck, so it is the SR5 with a V6 and two-wheel drive. I don't have the fun V8 or the four-wheel, but back then I didn't need it. Delightful thing, I had already bought, like, I think a 2009 Corolla from my same dealership, and about 2 months after I had signed all the paperwork and started making, I actually hadn't even made the first payment on the Corolla, and that thing rolled into our used lot from a trade-in, and questionable decisions were. I won't say it was a bad decision because I still have it. It's been a wonderful truck, but questionable decisions for sure. I think probably some of the worst problems I've had with it are the same problems that every 4Runner has. The brake calipers are just crap. So every time I change pads, I can basically count on changing at least one caliper.
Ooh.
But no, she's been a good, reliable ride. I do like it. And presently nothing else in the stable. I'm actually on the hunt, and it's something hopefully we'll be able to integrate into the show as time goes on when I have the availability to do so. Like I said, she's got 191,000 miles. I'm gonna be looking to replace this sooner rather than later. The 4Runner probably has a winter or two left in her before she needs to be passed on to pasture. So part of the show will end up becoming me balancing between what style of vehicle I want, if I want to go something basic, if I want to go something more fun, or what. You'll be car shopping with me and helping along.
And we'll be here to help you make terrible decisions.
I hope so. I you know what? This is probably going to be my last actual petrol-powered car that I buy, so I want to make some questionable decisions about it.
Oh, foreshadowing.
Yeah,
Alternatively,
absolutely.
you could get one for free.
Wait, what?
I'm
No, that would
taking the piss.
drove
not be
right
free
over
by
my
the time you
head.
were done with
That's
It would not be free by the time you were done with it.
Oh no, I'll still pick it up. Even if it's
Go
not
get
free eventually, if it's
God.
free now, I'll still take it.
Yeah. The only problem is making it move in the meantime.
That's not too big a deal. We'll figure that out.
Mm.
I'm sure I've still got a family member down south that's got a flatbed trailer somewhere with a winch on it.
Well, at the very least, anyway, it can get moved. But we're getting off topic. Anyhow, I should
Moving on.
probably introduce my old vehicles.
Yeah,
If you want to pop up the old daily.
The daily, I'm assuming, is the first of the two you sent me there?
Oh, yes.
Okay, let me pop on there and bring
Now, for
that
those who know
beauty
me, you'll
up.
probably be annoyed about the missing detail, but yes!
It
Look at
is
that weapon!
majestic.
That van is my daily. I am sorry to disappoint people, but yes, there it is. However, it does manage surprisingly good fuel economy. I get about 600 kilometers on a 45-liter tank. And it'll also happily chug along at 110 k's an hour without shifting down gears because it's all torque and no power. And will carry pretty much as I want in the back.
How many bodies there, you think?
I don't know about bodies, but at one time it has carried an AMC 360 V8, two 727 transmissions, a differential housing, 2 boxes full of carburetors, a set of 4 ROH wheels, 2 separate wheels, and an engine crane.
At once.
At once.
That's
Oh my
impressive.
God.
Yeah. If you Tetris it a bit, you can fit surprising amounts of stuff in there. And it'll happily carry up to a ton, as in a ton, not an American ton, without flinching. So
I would believe
2
it.
N's and an E.
yes,
That's the van of a contractor, man. That's a working vehicle.
that one in particular, as much as suffice to say, it used to carry animal products. But when it was in service for a courier vehicle, it did all of its kilometers out on the highway, so it got worn in the right way. As a result, it does not use oil, and it's 470,000 kilometers old.
Whew. Yeah, you got me beat by a bit of a country mile there.
I didn't
Many
put them all on, but it's done quite a few.
That's a little long in the tooth there, but as long as it's still running right, and I mean, you have the facilities, the knowledge, and the tools to keep it going. So, and also, you don't suffer the same fate as we do up here.
No, it has not fallen to cancer. No tin worm involved.
Yeah. Yeah, up
So
here
what
it's
else have you
either.
got?
Oh yes, yeah. Let's move on to your fun car if you would like.
Yes.
Ah,
My pride and joy, a Toyota 86 purchased in 2012, first year of production. I ordered mine on the 24th of June, 2012, and took delivery on the 31st of December because they were in just a little bit of demand.
just a touch.
I actually got it 2 months early too. I was meant to get it in February the next year.
Is that a picture of your actual one?
That is a picture of my actual 86, although I have blanked out the plates.
Fair enough.
I don't know why. It's just the only photo I had handy.
But
The
not
number
the
plate is-
RPF ones. I approve.
Yes. No. Those are currently not on the car because one of them got damaged, and not while I was driving. A tire machine broke it.
Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah. That's okay. Gives me an excuse to put 17 by 9.5 plus 38s on the back.
that's
Bit
fair.
of stagger. I like it.
Yes. The fronts are 17 by 8 plus 35, which are a perfect fit. The back has a little bit more room, so I can put some bigger wheels in. At the moment, it's just sitting on stock wheels. But yes, I attempted to order that car over the phone while I was in Japan after they announced them and failed. They made me come in and test drive it.
They made you
no.
come and test drive
Why
it before
won't
you
you
actually they would let you have one.
Yes, they said, we want you to make sure the car's for you. And I'm like, I am absolutely sure the car's for me, and I've driven one here in Japan. Can I just send you some money, please?
Shut up and take my money.
Legitimately.
Pretty much, yeah. I was just like, can I order it over the phone? I just want to buy a car. And yeah, they wouldn't let me. So I took Michelle, the sales manager who ended up going out with me, out on a test drive. And she was like, I know where there's some corners. And I'm like, oh, no, I know where there's one. Because I was in Epsom. And there's a corner which is basically reducing radius downhill left-hand bend. Formed between turn off from a main road and the bridge that comes over onto that main road, goes over the railway line onto that main road. After I took the car all the way through that sideways, she said we should go back to the dealership.
That's just a proper test drive.
Well, yeah, it's just like, I know what this car can do and I want it. Please let me buy it. No, you got to test drive it. All right, then.
We'll show you a test drive. Look, I know this thing comes stock with Prius tires, and we're going to make them squeal a little.
Oh boy, did they howl.
Well, that was the entire intent of that car when it came out. It was, yes, it may not be the highest on power that you've ever seen, but then again, it's not meant to be a spiritual successor to the Supra. It's meant to be a spiritual successor to the 8.6, which means it can fling its little tail out.
Yes.
It was meant to be the most fun that you could have without committing a felony.
Well, I mean, it still might be, but for under 30,000. At least for rear-wheel drive, semi-economical.
Well, that's the nice part. You really can use them every day. Like, it gets under 7 liters per 100 k's on the highway. It's actually quite easy to service despite all the spark plug jokes. Like, lift the car up, you can do it from underneath. It's not that hard. It takes about 45 minutes. The oil changes are brain dead. The oil filter's right on the top of the engine at the front. The sump plug is right out there. You can see it nice and easy. Like, they are such an easy car to live with. They're an easy car to look after, and they're an easy car to modify.
Oh, absolutely. No, I know people use these things as dailies, and they will beat the ever-living snot out of them just as a commuter car. I see them around here in winters. Like, there's plow
Yep.
trucks on the road, and then beside me, there's an 8.6 with Steelies and studded snow tires. They use them all year round.
Yeah, and they're just such a nice place to be. Like, if you get a GTS like mine, or in the US, if you get the premium trim, I think it is, in the 8.6, the GR86 now, you get heated seats, you get decent climate control with a pretty damn good heater, power windows, power mirrors, all the good stuff. Like, and power windows and power mirrors are standard on all of them, so it's hard to
Yeah,
go
well,
wrong, really.
Toyota has always been one of those known to kind of have granny heaters. I've never been in one that hasn't been able to burn you out of the driver's seat.
Yeah.
This episode not brought to you by Toyota.
Not if I can help it. So yeah, actually, that may be kind of something else we can talk about. We've got about another, I'd say, 11 minutes here to chat about either what we want the podcast or the show to be, or we can just go into some of our other affiliations. What do you like? What have you owned more than anything else? What do what direction do you guys want to go in here?
Kind of fun in that regard. If we're talking about stuff we've owned more than anything else, then it's something I'll probably never own again.
That could be another good one. I have a story for that as well.
Oh, just quickly flicking you a photo, by the way, not necessarily to put up straight away, but anyhow.
Ready? Well,
you had a story? I'd say go
yes.
right ahead.
I would say I can go ahead. I'll get into. We'll call this the. We've gone through what we have now. We haven't necessarily gone. We've gone through, I guess, some of our first cars, or we're about to. We're going to go through some of our cars later. But the one car or the one brand that I visited once, and I will never go back to. Have never gone back to. It was probably about, I want to say, 18, 19 years old, and was looking for a used car. My last one, unfortunately, one of my first cool cars that we'll explore later, that had finally blown up. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of money. I was trying to get into something still unique, still fun. So I went and I bought myself a 1989 Audi 90. Had the 5-cylinder engine, 5-speed manual transmission, non-quattro. It was front-wheel drive. I got it, paid it. The interior was in great shape. The exterior looked great. There was no rust on it. I hopped in it. I started driving it home, and about 3 blocks after I got into it, the transmission no longer wanted to shift. So we hooked it up on, one of my buddies with a bigger car, got a little hauler, and we popped it up, got it home. Figured, okay, it's in the transmission. We popped the transmission out, pulled off the back housing, and bearings came tinkling down like rain all over the garage floor. I sold that Audi and have never been back.
Not ideal, no.
No, that was kind of one of those like, I got burned there a little bit.
Little bit.
Just a touch.
Just a touch. Anybody else? First horror story? Something never been back to? Your worst experience?
Worst experience. I would need some time to think about that one. I can tell you what brand I would absolutely go back to.
That will work too.
In my career, I've owned 2 Subarus, a 1995 Legacy station wagon with a 5-speed and the 4-cylinder.
Nice.
The 2.2 liter, not the 2.5. And while woefully underpowered, it was absolutely wonderful in every other way. And my 2004 WRX. Both of them were the most reliable vehicles I've ever owned, and I would go back to them anytime.
Some Subaru fanboys here.
Hey, now.
I can see the vape smoke already.
And I would absolutely revisit Volvo because my 04 V70 was also wonderful.
I suppose we might as well run the full gamut. The car we've had the most of. If you wouldn't mind pulling up a photo for me, the ones I just sent through.
Yes, let me get those properly downloaded.
Sure thing.
Bring up the folder. And
folder.
again, a weapon.
An
Oh.
S chassis, to be precise. That is a Nissan Gazelle. They are in the same family as the 200SX and 240SX and the Sakura, I think, in the United States. That being the S110 chassis, S12 chassis, S13 and S14 chassis. But they're all an S platform car. That's an S12. They were built from 1984 to 1988. And despite what all the police thought about it, if you'd like to bring up the next photo for me, they are rear-wheel drive. And even that one with an open diff, as you can see by the
one-wheel peel?
smoke on both. No,
that's
close,
on both.
On
Nope,
the right-hand side, both sides.
It's a little hidden
It
back
like-
there.
The
You can see
not
it.
me license. Is anyone going to pay attention to the not me?
Oh,
license?
I was waiting to bring that one up.
Yeah, that
Plausible
was back when I shared that
deniability.
shared it on the internet. It's been a few years since then. That was actually one of the latter photos I took of my S12. I got that in 2004. But yeah, the old S12. I have owned that S12, another S12, 5 S13s. No, 6 S13s. They are the car I've owned the most of is the Nissan S chassis, and I'll probably never own another one because they are just stupid expensive now.
Yes, they absolutely are. I mean,
And
anytime
you
you
now
Gazelles,
have...
regret
like-
every one you've ever sold.
Yep.
Gazelles not really. Gazelles like that one. I regret selling the Gazelle more than I regret selling my Silvias. And I sold my last Silvia for far too little money. But that one in particular, the Gazelle, if I could have another one of those, I would. But the problem is they're getting old now. Finding parts for them is pretty tricky. And they're not the most durable things in the world. The engines are pretty good, but all the accessories hanging off them are kind of getting long in the tooth by now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just not a practical car to daily anymore, which is a shame because they are a fantastic daily. Heaps of space in the front, acceptable space in the back, ridiculous cargo space, and relatively economical. Plus pop-up headlights and rear-wheel drive. What's not to like?
Yeah, no, it's all there, but believe me, I do know about the 1980s, 1990s Japanese interiors and accessories that just after time and after wear, they just start kind of breaking down and going away. Because I personally, I have never owned, or like, there's only one situation where I have ever owned the one car more than once. And it is a specific, not only just a specific model, but specific chassis of that model. And
Ooh.
I actually have the second iteration, a picture of it here. So
yes.
the 1988/89, I think that was the 89 in that picture. AE92 GTS American. It was I think the pop-up headlights in Japan were the Torreno, whereas the fixed headlights were the remind me, Levin. But no,
yes.
I have owned two of those, and if a bad decision came across my desk again, I would probably end up owning a third.
Yeah, in Japan they were sold at separate stores. So you had the Corolla 11 and the Sprinter Torreno, and they're the whole Toyota dealerships in Japan. We should go over that at some point because it's fascinating. But anyway, anyhow, yeah, the S13 is the chassis I've owned the most of. S chassis cars in general are the ones I've owned the most of. Total too. Just God, so many of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a solid chassis. It's a really popular one too. I mean, again, to this day, it absolutely they show just in the desirability and the hype behind them. They're still to this day desirable vehicles.
Oh, these days they're insane.
Oh, yes.
I sold my Silvia, the last one, for $3,500, not running, to a friend. It was complete though, and was well worth looking after. So he was happy to get it for that price. I was happy to sell into it for that price because that way I'd actually get to see it finished and get to interact with it once it was out of my hands.
Yeah, keep it in the family.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't like what he did with the wheels. He put the 2 old wheels on it, but anyway. Also,
Terrible.
I'm going to get up on my soapbox here. Long chomps do not belong on S13s. They are too old. Put them on S12s, that's fine. Put them on AE86s, that's fine. They are too old for S13s. Oh, but they were making them in the 1980s. Yeah, they were. That's nice. You know what else they were making in the 1980s? S12s.
Mm-hmm.
S13s are a 1990s car, damn it. They don't need long chomps.
They don't.
And that's me off my soapbox.
Well, with that public service announcement for anybody that owns an S13 out there, we're going to move on now.
I will wave my cane at you.
Old man yells at cloud. We're going to move on and jump into our news segment. Here's where we're going to talk about... Yes, the news. Here's where we're going to each pick out, usually, unless there's major news, it'll probably be one small story from the week. And we will talk about it and give a quick little quip about what we think, how we feel about the news that's coming out. This can be serious, it can be silly, it can be groundbreaking, it can be anything we want it to be. So, as I'm host, I'm going to veto the rest of you, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push my own agenda as the Toyota fanboy and say my news is that internal combustion isn't entirely dead. And that is Toyota and Yamaha testing V8 that runs on hydrogen. Yes, the hydrogen idea is still floating around out there, even though most people kind of poo-pooed it and it seemed like a fad that went away a few years ago. But Toyota, not just Toyota, but Toyota, Yamaha,
Lexus,
Subaru, Mazda, and Kawasaki are all following a joint agreement to try out alternative fuels. So much so that Toyota actually had a hydrogen racing engine in a Corolla Sport last year, and they're presently developing these things. It's really, really exciting because, again, I think electric cars right now are absolutely all the fad, all the rage. That's what's popular as far as alternative fuels and alternative drive modes. But this is something that it will diversify the field. It's not only going to be electric. It's not only going to be petrol. It's not only going to be hydrogen. I think there's going to be a plethora of things. And if we can keep the internal combustion engine alive and even sounding a bit like they did in the past, I think that will make many people happy, and it will keep motorsport going. It'll keep a lot of things alive, especially since you can convert old engines into hydrogen.
Order.
and then every pile up on the 405 can look like the Hindenburg incident.
Yeah, that's the
Oh my
general
God,
fear
oh, the
mongering.
humanity.
Oh,
How's
it's
the traffic
hydrogen.
jam?
Won't
Oh,
that
the
be
humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, though, hydrogen isn't particularly dangerous in terms of escaping gas principles. However, I hate to be that actually guy. But
Oh, no.
the main reason why Japanese makers are leaning into the idea of pursuing hydrogen is because the Japanese government is attempting to incentivize it, which is kind of understandable considering the petrochemical industry in Japan. There's not that much refinement that goes on there, but it's considerably involved with a few things. And of course, you've got engine makers attempting, I should say, to continue building similar things because they're incentivized to do so. And a lot of big push from hydrogen is coming from Shell and BP, too, it must be noted.
Well, of course. I mean, especially the
keep
petrol
selling
companies
things
are
that way.
going to keep their fingers in things somehow. They can't do with electric, so they need to figure out some way to keep making money.
It's worth, especially on that front, it's worth noting a lot of hydrogen that gets made is what they call blue hydrogen. Which is, are you familiar with the terms? If you're not, and actually, no, come to think of it, if you're playing at home, a blue hydrogen is hydrogen that is derived from hydrocarbons. So cracked from methane, for instance, or cracked from other sources, as opposed to generated from electricity via electrolysis. Blue hydrogen is not that great for the environment for obvious reasons, because you're just cracking hydrocarbons, and obviously you're cracking the carbon out of it to get the hydrogen. So, long story short, if they can make an effective carbon capture technology, that might solve part of it. But yeah, they really want to continue bringing methane out, and methane's a particularly bad climate change gas.
Yeah, it's not
So,
exactly the greatest.
No, it's much worse than CO2 on its own, as a matter of fact. So it would take a lot more control to make that a sustainable thing long term. But yeah, I'm honestly not sure if we're going to see hydrogen enter the space as an energy source, because it's awfully difficult to deal with too. Hydrogen, being the smallest possible molecule, likes to go through things. That includes seals, even metal itself. And
geez.
hydrogen storage basically requires to be compressed at extremely low temperatures. So if we do end up with hydrogen cars, you're going to end up with a similar problem to older battery vehicles, where if you leave them lying around for a while, they ain't got no gas in it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's
So yeah, I'll be that
something
well
that,
actually, guy. But really, I do hope that hydrogen succeeds, because I
yeah,
like my ICEs.
absolutely. And again, this is something that it's an interesting technology. It's interesting that so many people are jumping in on it. How viable it is, I don't know, but it's a step in a different direction other than just purely electric, which I think is something that is needed. I think the automotive industries do need to diversify a little bit, aside from just a binary option of either it runs on gas or it runs on electricity.
Oh, perhaps, but I mean, we had just petrol or just diesel for a very long time. Probably, I think the thing that we need to re-examine is how we move freight more than anything else, because the longest range stuff that requires the largest amounts of power is, well, freight, frankly. Even if we go to something like the German developed system, where there's battery enough to do local deliveries, but once you get on the highway, you extend a pantograph and use an overhead wire. That's a possibility. Or even if we just go to improving intermodal freight, that's a possibility. Which I wouldn't mind, because, trains.
All right. Well, we will see. Maybe that in the future we'll have some viewers or some people that want us to circle back around to this one and dig into it a little bit further. But I think we
Please leave a startup.
bounce on to a next story. Tamarack, do you think you're ready?
Oh, absolutely.
All
So,
right.
let me preface this by saying, sometimes people come up with answers to questions that no one was asking.
I like where started this. Let's see what we've got for you. Oh, goody. Okay. What?
So, what our friends at
Sorry?
Ford would like to do is, instead of having a heads-up display that projects up onto your windshield, they want your headlights to project it onto the road in front of you for some reason. If you scroll left and right, there's a gallery of pictures there. So, your GPS directions, if it's cold out, hey, there might be ice, the speed limit, your turn-by-turn directions, the squiggly
Ooh,
road
squiggly.
ahead.
Yeah. Roundabout.
I think that is the most asinine thing I've ever seen in my
It's
entire life.
ridiculous. Like, heads-up display
I
technology
like
is
it,
so
and it's
good.
awful. I want it.
And I can just
Like-
imagine how cluttered the roads would look at night if everybody had this. Just everybody's turn-by-turn directions, their playlist is projected onto the road in front of them. Oh, hey, that person's listening to this.
Well, I know we've already got Audi, for instance, is doing. Was it Audi or Mercedes? One or the other that did projections of like their logo and stuff on startup before they went to regular operation.
I could see Mercedes doing that.
It was either Mercedes or Audi. Don't quote me. I can't remember which. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see something like this where it's actually using it for something useful. I don't know. I'd have to try it and give it a go, because Even heads-up displays, I find they make my eyes tired a bit because I'm focusing backwards and forwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably the best scenario I had to fix that was, do you all know the 7th generation Civic? The one where they went to that, they went from like a Civic to making a tiny Camry.
Let's find out. Good old, I mean, if anybody wants to see behind the scenes, this is how I do most of my research.
Oh, sorry, 8th generation. I got the wrong one.
8th gen. Oh, yeah,
Those
those
guys.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the suppositories.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
The ugly ones.
Yeah, grab a picture of the dash if you would. There's an Australian one. Fucking giant.
Oh, Lord, what's happening? Let's see. 8th gen.
Just grab like 2005 Civic dashboard.
Disash.
Board.
Image.
Oh my god, it's all the American one. Kill it. No, you need 2006 obviously because you didn't get them until the next. Because you guys do the model year the year after it actually is thing.
Typically, yes.
There you
go.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, those were hideous.
Those are terrible.
They are hideous, but that speedo.
drives
You see
one.
how it. You see how that speedo looks like it's out of focus.
Yep.
That's
That
because
was
it
done
is.
on purpose, wasn't it?
They are further away. They've got like a special optical thing, and when you're looking at them, they look way further away than they are. So you flick your eyes down to it and flick your eyes back up, and like your point of focus is like 40 meters ahead of you.
Yeesh.
It's really, really sensible. I love it.
It's very smart, but I mean, their design overall was questionable, but that was brilliant. It's like you guys had one
it's really
stroke
good.
of genius, and then you started eating crayons. Like I
Oh,
don't.
And then
Let's be
Ford
real.
comes along and says, "Let's project that information onto the actual road so everyone can see it."
Yeah, I mean, as far as
Somebody's
this one,
right ahead of you, though.
if I have to do a devil's advocate, I'm gonna say the only time this may not end up so great is if, I don't know, somebody's trying to figure out where you're going and they can just see right in front of you where that's happening. But aside from that, it seems kind of silly. It's also kind of, I don't know. I could see them probably trying this. I don't think it's going to be a feature that enough people will use or appreciate that it's actually going to make it through to any kind of major production.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm kind of interested to play with it if it does make it to production.
Yeah, it'll be. Oh Lord, it'll be an interesting one.
If anything, it'll be a silly gimmick, and
Love
people
that.
will talk about it, and then they'll just turn it off and never use it again.
Probably. And it's going to be like the crab walk feature in the Hummer Electrics. Oh, that's
I was
fun.
kind of
Never turn it
interested
on.
in those. I was interested in those until I realized they weigh 9,000 pounds.
Yeah, they are absolute behemoths.
Like, that's no hyperbole. 9,000.
Okay, so for the record, gentlemen, right now we are at 43 minutes. We can go ahead and hit one more news story from you, Kaji, if you'd like. Otherwise, we can jump
pertaining
right
back
into our
to
game.
the alternate
We
combustion.
have about a 10-minute late start due to technical difficulties, so we can go a little bit over.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. You know, we'll zone it in. This show might end up being an hour, 20, hour and a half. We'll feel it out. Keep going.
So about the continuation of internal combustion engines, be they petrol powered or otherwise. I mean, there's going to be a hydro in there, be it a hydro or a hydrocarbon. It's confirmed that the 2024 Ford Mustang will retain ICE for now, but it's probably going to be the last petrol powered Mustang.
Really?
Wow,
Yeah.
guys named Kevin all over the U.S. just cried a little bit.
That's okay. They've got 8 years to buy one. They can still join the military and get one with their signing bonus.
Oh no!
And then immediately circle it around and smash the back axle when out of a car park. Mm-hmm.
That's okay. They'll get it repaired by the time they're out of the military.
That's true.
I mean, that's all that'll be fixed. The panels will still be stuffed. But anyway, apologies to anyone named Kevin. Please don't shoot me. The new Mustang, however, a bonus for all of us, whether you like them or not, is it's gonna have a manual.
Okay, so all right, okay.
To retain the manual.
Golf clap. You know, I can't say a whole lot because I drive a Ford for work, which I could have probably showed a picture of that, but probably not. But
Mm.
I do frequent in a Ford F-250 Super Duty for work because I have to carry 100 gallons of water in the bed of my truck. But, I used to have a big thing against Ford. It's been fading slowly as I've worked inside of them. And you know what? I gotta have to give them credit where it's due for continuing to let the manual live and be a thing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not sure if they're going to do this though. Let me just quickly send you a thing
Sure, I am
as
ready.
soon as I can get it.
Yeah, no, Viva La
I've just got to.
Manual. I think some of the only new cars, at least in that class of the GT Mustangs. GT Mustang is probably going to have manual. They've just recently decided that they're going to, or not fairly recently, but I mean within the past couple months, have announced that they're going to be doing the Supra in manual. I don't know if they're going to be doing its cousin, the
Oh, the Supra's
M4.
out.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be doing
Uh,
its cousin, its BMW cousin, in a manual, but they are releasing it in a Toyota badging with a manual.
as near as I know, the Z4 is not getting it. No, uh, I'm still kind of wondering if anything's going to come of the MR2 project. But yeah, this is a thing that might be happening.
It's
Although
is
got
I doubt
a
it's
that?
quite so
schnoz on
ugly.
it, my guy.
That's because there's a 7.3 liter V8 in there.
Oh, good.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay, you know
Godzilla.
what? You can have the nose. I respect it. There's no
Form
disrespected nose
follows
here.
function.
I'm pretty sure they'll probably give it its own intake if they end up building it, so that they can have a low rise intake and eliminate a little bit of that schnoz.
Yeah,
But
and I'm sure they'll probably also plane down the intake manifold and a few other things here and there.
And
oh
maybe get
yeah,
rid of the actual duct tape.
maybe.
Nah,
Look
that's pretty
closely at the
standard for a
corner.
Mustang. If
But
it
yeah,
ain't on a
like
hose, it's on a seat.
if that happens though, that'd just be fantastic. And I know that there's some extra production at the Godzilla plant, the Windsor plant, which is building the Godzilla motor, the 7.3 liter. But the extra production might be for crate motors, or it might be for these things, and it's kind of hard to tell at this point.
Well, we will keep our fingers crossed because that is ridiculous, and I enjoy it.
I know who doesn't want a last big block Mustang.
It's one of those. It's a dinosaur. It's the last of its kind.
Looks like a dinosaur. Look at the bloody beak on the thing.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It looks like that. What's the one with the big bone on its head that it used to attack predators? Used to counter predators.
A rhinoceros?
No, I know
no,
what he's
dinosaur.
talking about. It's the head-butting dinosaur.
Yeah.
Oh, Triceratops.
No.
No. It was
Um. da-da-da-da. Oh my gosh, I
Pachycephalosaurus?
cannot pronounce this guy.
yeah, I can't remember its name.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Did you
That's
just
the
search
guy.
headbutt dinosaur?
I sure did, and it got what I needed.
Okay, let me send you another image. This is why that thing has a schnoz on it anyway. So, like, a change of inlet manifold will actually let it fit the engine a lot better.
Oh yeah, now looking at that does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's
Save
why it's
it.
got the schnoz.
Trust in the power of my... Oh wait, no, it's not gonna do that for me. That's fine. It's okay. We can make this work.
Do the thing.
It's going! There we are. Yeah, see, redirecting where that intake is and pushing the actual hose down will eliminate a lot of that.
Yeah, like honestly, if they just use the intake the way it is, but they had the inlet either at the other end and two separate throttle bodies, or if they just had a hose going around to a throttle body that's sitting off it, that'd do it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I have experience with throttle bodies that sit off of the intake, and I'm not particularly fond of them. But if it works, their engineering's probably better than the 80s and 90s when I was experiencing them. So more power to them. Let's see what it does.
Yeah, like you want your throttle body as close to the inlet plenum as possible. That goes without saying.
But hey, man, race car, race car.
Oh, hold on. I know what you could do. I know exactly what you could do.
Uh oh.
Oh no.
He sounds too excited. I'm kind of afraid.
Way too excited.
Oh
Though remember,
yeah.
he is drinking an exact liter of coffee.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, he's 200 milliliters shy, but
Only
darn
a
close
little bit.
enough.
Yes. But yeah, nah, you could do this. You could do this.
Let's have it.
Tell me you don't want it, and I'll call you a liar.
Oh, yeah, you're right, though. I'm kind of angry about it, but you're right. Yeah,
Oh, I'm not even mad. Yeah.
yeah. Or just get rid of all the lumpiness up top and just make it ITVs.
Yeah, you could have ITVs and
Can you
flat
imagine the
inlets with big
sound?
cannon.
Because I don't know.
Ah,
I like intake sound. I like intake sound. I like turbo sound. I'm 50-50 on exhaust. Some exhaust sounds great. Most exhausts that people put on their vehicles sound like crap. So
that's
I don't
because
know.
most people put straight pipes on. Keep your resonators in your exhaust, kids.
Yeah,
Your resonators are there to take out the really annoying bits.
which you
And
let
they don't
means
make
you
it that much
Nissan
quieter.
Z owners.
Oh my god, the trombones.
You sound like an angry trombone.
The
Sounds
worst
like a
part is
pissed
if you
off
put
weed
headers
whacker.
on a VQ, they sound good. They sound legitimately good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have to agree.
But
No, I'm not angry about that at all. I would 100% jump on that if they made them.
oh man, look at that.
That's the thing of beauty. So, gentlemen, what do you
Mhm.
say about moving on to today's little mini challenge?
Shall we?
Yes.
We shall. Okay. I went first last time, so whoever wants to go first this time. This is essentially find the first quote unquote cool car that you had as a youth, and find an equivalent now and how much it might cost.
All right, I'll take point on this one.
Let's have it. Shall I bring it?
So,
Which am I bringing up first?
well, I initially went off searching for the first car that I thought I had as a youth that was cool, which was a 1995 Eagle Talon.
Oh.
Oh yes, and he had the good
And
one.
I had a great deal of trouble finding one, but I did find one.
Ooh.
It was in that exact color, as a matter of fact.
Goodness.
And you know what? I'm not mad at the price for a TSI.
I must admit, I am actually pretty. Is that in neat? Okay. I'm actually.
It's almost 30 years old, though.
That's
Admittedly,
fine.
but it looks like it's been cared about.
Yeah, it's all there.
As for the whole 30-year-old thing, like every
Oops.
generation gets nostalgic for stuff that was a few years before they started things off. It's normal.
Of course.
But yeah, like no, I'm actually kind of envious of the DSMs because we didn't get them here for obvious reasons.
And I heard you say "oops" when you pointed out the auto box,
I did.
but
Oops.
the auto box DSMs were faster.
Yeah, I would presume arguably probably faster, and also less danger to manifold.
You could actually fix that with a lightweight flywheel and taking the rev hang out in the ECU. I know some folks who used to race them. If you got over a certain point, the manuals or the autos both wouldn't hold the power though.
But because I only found one of those, that search also did turn up a car that came from the era where when the box said it adds 10 horsepower, it actually did.
Ooh.
Look at this thing.
That is the thing of beauty. I'm not gonna lie.
I love those.
I like
Talons.
it. I like it. It looks. I mean, that's a little ostentatious, but
Oh, let him
and
have it.
that's really reassuring right there. I know what plate that is.
Yeah, that's an Arizona tag. There's going to be no rust on that car.
Oh, that front.
I love that they're basically a Porsche 944 designed by Americans.
Yeah, essentially.
And I always loved the very driver-focused cockpit interior that they had going on.
Mm-hmm.
No love for those automatic seatbelts, though.
Ugh, no.
No, they always cut your head off.
Yes, that is true. I've had a couple cars with those, and yep, they certainly do that.
I
little
drove
Mitsu?
exactly one car with them, while I was in the States, and it was a case of the owner said, "Okay, unclip the seatbelts, turn the car on, let them finish, and then do them up like a regular seatbelt." I'm like, "Okay."
I also love how that car came from the era when every feature that the car had to be on a sticker on the side somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere it
16
was.
to
valve,
point-
dual overhead cam, turbo, all-wheel drive.
I love the fact that Japan went extra on those. Like they were half the size of the car. Hang on. My favorite one was the R30 Skyline, DR30. Let me grab a photo so you don't have to go looking.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
But no, I mean, this guy has obviously done a shopping list.
Oh, it's not stock.
No, certainly not. But you know what
Absolutely
I really love about this one, and one of the things that it took me a minute to notice, and now that I see it, I really love it, is the fact that everything up here is nice and dark, and you have all your color, all your bronze, all your gold, whatever you want to call it, is down and low. It's two-tone, and it looks very good.
Oh yeah,
I
they all
like
did
dark
that.
on top two tones, like my Gazelle.
Yeah, there's definitely a place for them.
Yes. I just sent you a RSX.
Yes,
okay.
pulling it up
Kaji had a
as we
sidebar.
speak. Bing.
It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that's
You
putting
know
it
the best
right out
bit?
on Front Street.
The best part is the later cars said intercooler turbo.
Mm-hmm.
And it also looks like, judging by the size of the wheels, it definitely skipped leg day.
Come on.
They're a bit out of proportion.
I mean, that's
Here we go.
almost as bad as the Mazda rotary trucks.
I found a later one.
Like, same thing. You're just putting it right out there, man.
Rotary power.
Rotary power! Just to let you know.
That is cool, though. I want a Repu.
Yeah, they'd be fun. That's just weird not to be fun. Oh my goodness. Actually, you know what? I'm not a huge fan of the 30s, but that I like. That I can agree with. Hold on, let me
Fair
bring it
enough.
up for everybody. I said download.
That's
did you
a
not?
DR30
There it is.
Tuckerman, the iron face.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not angry about that. That is
Intercooler.
Dual overhead cam RS dash turbo.
Intercooler.
It reads like an Amazon ad description.
a little
I
bit.
know.
But you know what? That is a little bit of patina and maybe an ostentatious like pop out the hood turbo from being in Mad Max. Like it's got that style, those hard edges to it.
Oh, the race cars of those were especially nuts.
Oh, I imagine ridiculous.
And the body lines going along the back over the trunk, it kind of looked like it thought about becoming a ute, but then got cold feet.
Yeah, a little bit. Especially where the window cuts off, like where the rear seatbelt is. If you just cut it right there and made it
I
flat.
want to be a pickup truck, but maybe not really.
Paul Newman advertised those ones in Japan.
Paul Newman. Go figure.
Also, hang on, I just noticed something. How is he going to get down off of
I'm
that
sending you the
curb?
race cars.
Oh. That's
How
making
is he
some
going to get...
It's
How
Japan.
do you
He'll
get-
have ramps in the boot.
probably.
Oh, fair.
Also have the shoe tray in the rear seat.
Yes. That's the
Oh,
race car
yes.
version. I love the aerodynamics. Anyway, yeah.
Yes.
And the fact
Back on
that,
topic.
judging by the flames, it woke up this morning and chose violence.
We should just
Oh,
call
every
this
morning.
entire podcast ADD Cars the podcast.
Yeah, that's what
Ooh,
it's become.
shiny.
Yeah.
So now on to the actual first cool car that I had. Everybody break out your vape pens. So
Am I
this
opening
was
the which of these
well,
two?
this
The
is
one in the car park or the
actual
one in the tree?
No. I was gonna have you show.
Oh, you're going to show the
my-
actual. I can show you
Yeah,
the actual.
show my actual. This was my actual car for a while.
Oops.
2004 WRX wagon. You can smell the gummy bear flavored vape from here.
Oh, come on.
And
Cinnamon
the
rolls
Whipple
where it's at.
Turbo. Oh, you never do sweet. You always do fruit. Sweets gum up the coils. Just stick with the fruity ones. Oh no, that's the MKZ.
Oh nope, that's my old car. That's my current car. Yeah, and that interior, I actually met a guy at a Subaru meet with an STI who did not like the blue seats and door cards, so we just swapped in the middle of the parking lot. He wanted my black ones, I wanted his blue ones.
I love that it takes about a half an hour to do an interior swap on a WRX.
Yeah, that's all it took. Everybody there had tools and everybody helped.
You need
Well, of
a
course, you're
12
Subaru
mil
knows you always have
socket.
tools with you.
Hey,
You have a
stop
12.
it.
You need a 12 mil socket, a 10 mil socket, a 14 mil socket, and some nylon spudges and a Phillips head screwdriver. Well, really, you want a JIS driver, and yeah, that's it.
Nice.
Yeah, you're not wrong. So, in searching for those, I didn't have very much more luck. Let's start with the one in the trees, not the car park.
Tree time. Here we go.
Because this one is ultra clean, but he's asking way too much money for it.
$7 grand.
Unfortunate.
It's depending.
But it is immaculately clean.
Yeah, I mean, for the level of cleanliness, I mean, given he could be hiding a lot of problems under a very, very, very good detail, but something that clean, if you're looking for a good example that
rally
hasn't been overly molested, this is actually a very good place to start, and I think it would be worth the $7 grand for somebody who wants to build or own an Impreza wagon.
Oh no,
Honestly,
his
I'd say
ad
that's
says
a fair
that it's
price.
his ad says that it's all stock except for the catback exhaust, which is fine. That's barely a modification.
Yeah, that's 5 bolts and it's out again. Like, not a big deal.
But if you look at the engine bay, it's very honest. He's not trying to hide anything.
I mean, he's showing us the oil level.
But it's not filthy. It's not too suspiciously clean.
It's not suspiciously like shiny and wiped down and
Actually,
everything.
I've just
There's a little
noticed
bit of
something
shyness
that's a
there.
little. I've noticed something that's a little bit sussy is the fact that he does not have a belt going over the AC compressor.
Yeah. Noticing that one now, yeah.
That might be a problem.
Just a
New
bit
compressors are
suspect,
cheap.
but yeah, I mean, if you're
Well,
building a race
new
car, you don't need
compressors
AC
aren't
anyways.
New compressors aren't cheap, but rebuilt compressors are. So if you've got a core, it's not too bad.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Now the second one that I sent you in the car park, that's a very fair price and also a master class in how to write a good car ad. I'll let you guys take it from there.
Okay, so if I'm looking at this, obviously the first thing, if I'm going to be buying this, okay, 4,000, that's probably within whatever budget I have. I'm also seeing a Celica right here, haha, hi, and an old Camaro with T-tops. So he's clearly got their cars around. He's either got multiple cars or around people who know cars. It's promising. So looking at it, it's clean.
Yeah, she's
Yep,
all right.
and he's got good pictures that you can actually see.
Yeah.
And he
Showing
shows
off
all-
the bad, showing warts and all.
Yep, shows it for what it is. Not trying to hide anything.
Found a random gravel parking lot next to a field. Night aesthetic shot. Yeah, all right.
I got you blue.
Stop it. Settle down.
So basic silver out, black inside, 5-speed, mostly stock, aftermarket headlights to replace cloudy old ones. Honest about it. STI
STI
pink
pink.
springs. So he's at least buying Subaru branded stuff. I would rather
Always
somebody
STI
buy manufacturer. If they're going to modify it, buy it from the manufacturer. At least I know that the parts are engineered to work right.
The next paragraph, look at how honest this man is.
Yeah, mechanical
Dented
B+.
passenger fender. I bumped into another car while backing out of my garage. Embarrassing.
Restorating on top windshield, showed that. Little dings and scratchers. Yep. Front seats are a bit worn out. Well, that's because you've been sitting in them, my guy. Front carpets can use a deep clean, as with any car.
Yeah, basically, he's giving you a good sort of a rundown on everything.
Yeah, it's
so that's
honest
pretty
and
nice.
it's genuine.
He's up front with this is a masterclass on what to look for in a good used car ad. I would buy that car from that person.
I would trust that car, honestly, more than that one. Because that's one paragraph, not a whole lot. Sure, you
I'd
say
still
it's
go
been
and look at it,
meticulously cared for. I would take a look at it, sure. But if I'm based
but I
off
wouldn't
of like,
trust it straight up.
yeah, if let's say if it's a car challenge, this is Top Gear. I'm looking for a car to do a road trip with. I'm not gonna buy this car.
No,
I'm gonna buy
I'm
this
going
one.
with the 4,000 one all day.
Yeah. as he's given you genuine information. So
Mm.
yeah, no, I would agree. Out of those two, those are pretty good.
So yeah, that was the challenge that I had in finding a cool car that I used to have that I would have again.
Very good.
All right.
I've got
Next up.
two. If you'll allow me to jump in there and weasel my way in and do mine real quick. So I
You are this week's host.
well, that's true. I take precedent here. I did two. So I searched for the first car I had, and it's not necessarily a cool car. It's a nerdy car, so it's kind of like nerd chic cool now. So like right now, if you saw one of these at Cars and Coffee, you might actually go up to it and look like, oh my gosh. And I had a surprisingly difficult time finding one of these. Um, it is a 1991 Toyota Corolla. Mine was a 1989.
Ooh.
But 1991 baseline 5-speed 4-cylinder sedan. Mine was in silver, but it still had, wait for it, a
Well, honestly,
blue
with those-
interior.
With those old
Everything.
Toyotas, if you had a blue one, it ended up being silver within 10 years, let's be honest.
That's true.
Mhm.
But I mean, same style
Oh.
of headlights, the black bumpers, the moldings, the cheapo silver rims that I repainted. Like this was, except for the exterior color, all of this was pretty much the same. It had
Those
the tape
American
deck.
bumpers.
I can smell that car.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, and that's why I want to do this, because it's iconic, and this is what I learned to drive a manual on. So there were a lot of nights, statute of limitations has passed, so I can say it, like 14, 15 at the time, cruising around neighborhoods late at night while everybody else was asleep. I learned to drive manual in one of these. So this very much it'd take me back. I don't know that I necessarily want to buy it, but at the same time, I was able to find it, and it is just, I mean, it's a Toyota Corolla. These things will be running after the apocalypse.
AC is very cold. Heater works.
Yeah, it works. Interior is very clean. Seats have no rips or tears. It's true. No accident history. Reliable gas saver. Like it's been genuine. 2 original keys. He's got some factory stuff with it that you don't normally
Oh,
see.
All the paperwork. Nice.
Yeah. So it's a pretty cool example. I mean, but keeping it short with this one, short and sweet. It was just kind of a neat one that I wanted to share. Now,
Yeah.
for the first cool car I had, this was surprisingly easy to find, and in fact, the only difference between the one I found and the one I owned was about 20 cubic inches of V8. I had a bigger engine than this one.
Oh.
Here we go.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
A 1968 Chevrolet. This is my first cool car. I think I paid $3,500 and went and picked it up out of Texas.
You get to be the cool dad.
But yeah, it was the sedan with a 327 in that Marina blue with the extra chrome option with those same hubcaps. Everything just about the same. And it takes me back to being 17 and 18 years old and having people offer to buy me this at gas stations. And yeah, no, especially with the price that they were listing it at presently, given the reserves not met. But with the price that it's at right now, I'm shocked. I would, again, if I won the lottery today, this would be in my driveway tomorrow. As they were fun cars. Given I would want a more robust transmission than I originally had. I don't want a 2-speed power glide again.
No.
But
If you win the lottery, just hire me. We'll do cool stuff with it.
yeah.
We'll stick a ZF8 in there.
Oh god. But no, just I mean the sweeping mile per hour gauge, the big old
120 miles per hour seems a bit optimistic.
It very
Nah.
much is, because I guarantee you my valve started floating at about 110. Don't ask how I know. At least
You
with a
could fix that.
2-speed power glide. I don't know. It could probably do more. But I mean,
Glide, God.
yeah, 2-speed. But this steering wheel, I could turn this with just my index finger. That's how
Over-assisted, was it?
just the power steering was so super assisted. It was so good.
It's got the aviation style floating compass on the dash.
Yeah, that I didn't have that. That's a little much. But no, this still seemed like the same. Put it up there yourself, you lazy bum. Shoulder
Yeah, but who
harnesses.
wears a seatbelt, shoulder harnesses?
Uh huh.
Wait, Yotie, what year is this?
This is
68.
1968.
Oh, okay. Because I just recently flew a 1976 Cessna Skyhawk that had shoulder belts that went up in the same fashion.
Yeah, it's definitely not a new technology. I'll say that for sure. But this was actually the year before. In 1968, that would have still had all four drums, all four wheels were stopped by drum brakes. 1969, they got front discs, which is a very popular conversion.
You could option them, couldn't you? If I remember correctly, it was automatically part of the SS package.
It might have been.
Yeah. I know that standard drums took until the late 60s, which is baffling because that's a large car.
It is a very, very big car, and more than a few times on an off ramp, I would hit the brakes, and they were too good. All of a sudden, all four drums grabbing on, and you're sliding half sideways down a wet off ramp. It's not a fun time.
Oh, yeah, no. Drums are great. Once.
Yeah.
when your brake pedal has a question mark on it.
Yes, but I mean, if I had to buy an ideal, I mean, yeah, I'd love an SS, or I'd love this in a convertible or a wagon. If you've never seen the 68 wagons, they're hilariously
So
awesome.
huge.
Oh, they're incredible. But
one of
You
my
know me by
mates'
now, I'm
dads had one that it was an ex-embassy car, and it was, god damn, it was enormous.
yeah, they're huge. The trunk is as big as the hood, but it was a delightful car. It was a great first car to roll around in, and no, I still have the license plates. When I sold, I mean, I say sold, the oil pump blew up and left a very, very big plume of blue smoke on the highway. And that just the motor just was over at that point. But I took the plates off it and kept those, and I still have to this day. And I would 100% go and I'd find that car again, even in a sedan, and I would happily own it. So that moves on to our last contestant for the day.
You did say that you were looking for your next mistake.
Well, you all saw my first car earlier, my first cool car anyway.
Yeah.
Of which I've owned several. I sent you another link, by the way. There's two now, because I managed to get Search Tempest working. One is a Japanese example. This is not it. This is the American one. Which I
scroll
just
back,
found.
I'll find the Japanese, but we'll circle back.
We'll look at this one first. This one actually is a pretty rare vehicle in that it's got a grey interior. My car's a grey over grey interior, which was fairly rare. But yeah, what's not to like? Front engine rear wheel drive, pop-up headlights. This one has the wrong transmission, but that's pretty easy to fix. A weekend and some beers.
As long as you have the pedals to it and all the extra bits that you need. Look at those taillights.
I know, and the spoiler above them. Oh god.
That's something you do not see driving on the road anymore, is taillights like that.
And even the Australian ones had those tail lights because the reverse lights are in the bumper if you have a look.
Yeah, right there on the black.
But
my goodness, they are proud of it.
Oh, no, but look at how many Ks it's done.
Oh, yeah, no, you're okay. No, that's justifiable now. That's barely broken in.
Yes. There's a picture of it with all its doors and everything open so you can see how big that hatch opens up to, too.
Oh, well, it won't get any
There's one from the back, too.
Good night.
See what I mean about cargo space?
Yeah, you could practically stand up in the back of that thing with the hatch open.
Yep.
Good night. Very cool, though. Very, very cool.
Oh, it was great.
Shall I open the Japanese version?
Oh, yes. Now, on the other hand, this one is less practical for driving, but
it looks a lot cooler.
More practical for driving. That is a Nissan Silvia RSX, but it's still an S12. It's just a notchback, not a hatchback.
I quite like that.
Front engine rear wheel drive, as mentioned. This one being an RSX means they only came with a manual, but more importantly, if you'll do me the courtesy of opening up the first engine bay photo, they came with an FJ20, which is a 2-litre double overhead cam inline 4, 16 valves. These ones were turbocharged. Later ones were turbocharged intercooled. That one, considering like this is 1985, from its 2 litres, made 190 horsepower.
Whew. That's
The later
impressive
ones
for the
made
time.
210.
That's impressive for the time. Not a
Oh,
whole
yeah.
lot was getting up there. Oh, those back seats.
Yeah.
Pristine, 'cause
When
no
you
one would
actually
ever fit in
want
them.
to sit in the back seat.
Yeah.
The only thing that's been in those back seats is someone's lunch bag.
Yep, pretty much.
Yes. Yes.
But-
If I remember correctly, this thing made more power in 1985. Yes, it did. Made more power in 1985 than the 302 in a Mustang by about 20 horse.
Oh no.
That
And
is
yeah,
that is a thing. I love the red on the hood there.
yeah, right out there, 4-valve DOHC turbo.
You know what
So
you're
you can see
messing
it in
with.
the rearview, see it in the rearview mirror, and you're just like, oh, better get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So they put an unnecessary hood scoop on it and then just decided to stick a badge in it instead.
Oh, it's not a scoop. If you, there's not enough photos of the engine bay. They needed to put that on so the engine fit.
Oh, so it was like the Talon where the cam cover wouldn't fit.
Yep.
It's got a lumpy hood for practical reasons.
Yes.
Oh, that is a thing of beauty there. And see, these are the kind of cars that I wish we got.
Well,
And this-
you actually got a unique version of the S12 in the United States. The United States was the only country to get a 5-stud 3-litre V6 S12 called the 200SX SE V6.
Huh. Turbo over V6. I like the whooshy noises, so sue me.
I can't say I blame you.
All right.
Right. But yes, that's an S12.
Very, very cool. Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that one. Actually, on both of yours, I have no complaints about either of your two first cool cars. I would happily take either one of them today and drive them.
Mm-hmm. We could all go cruising in yours.
Very slowly, but we could.
It's fine.
It wasn't a car that was meant to go fast. It was meant to look cool.
Yes.
Okay, well,
back when that was all right, and like it's one thing that I don't really like about modern car journalism, I suppose, is it always comes down to how fast is it? What's the 0 to 60? It's like it's got a 1.4-litre engine, slow. The 0 to 60 is slow. Why are we focusing on this?
yeah, there's definitely some things that you don't have to talk about speed when it's, a Volkswagen, the new Volkswagen Golf. If it's the new GTI or the new R, yes, do talk about
Yeah, sure.
that. But
And it seems to be, it seems to be if it's not a truck, it doesn't get that out. It has to be fast or it's got to be a truck.
yeah, I would agree.
Like no one
Talk about the
asks
points that
questions.
are relevant, as I think the
Yeah.
lesson is there.
Yeah, like no one talks about the cargo space in a hatchback. They just talk about the 0 to 60, and it's like, well, if it's an FJ Cruiser, you wouldn't be asking about the 0 to 60. Why are you asking about it now?
Yeah, there is one exception to that rule. There's a car reviewers that I watch on the YouTubes that one of their I won't mention them here just because I don't know, competition. But one of their shticks, one of their gimmicks is that they actually take big like Tupperwares, like gigantic storage bins, and they see how many they can fit in cars.
Ooh.
And they at least do a side-by-side comparison with like, oh yeah, this can fit 13 of these big things.
Mm.
But yeah, beyond that, they're some of the only ones I know that actually point those kind of features out.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah,
But it's a symptom of the whole numbers thing, I think.
I think so. But right now, I'd say we're about at an hour and 20 for our present show. I think we can probably start
Let's
doing a
wrap
little bit of
this
a wrap up.
somewhere.
Let's kind of
Absolutely.
land this plane here. Let's bring this thing into port.
Let's steer into the skid.
Yeah. So first off, I know I don't think we have too many people that are hanging around right now with us in chat, but we are all actively watching. At least I know I'm actively watching. So if there are any questions, comments, anything that's going on with you guys, go ahead and let us know now. Otherwise, we can start getting into some of our other thank yous. First and foremost, of course, is our music that you heard at the start. I paused that once we started going, but we introed out with some delightful music from the wonderful Walking Dog music. These guys are DMCA free, copyright free. They've got tons of albums and lo-fi hip hop, kawaii future bass, all kinds of really, really neat stuff. Check them out, walkingdog.bandcamp.com. They're really, really great, and you can use them to stream all your stuff for free. It's good times. And Tamarack, Tama, you've got somebody
Yes.
that you want to shout out.
Yes, today, actually, the logo that you're looking at on screen right now, that was created today by Yagoda from the Omaha Furs chat on Discord. This is their card. It will be posted in the show notes and description later on.
There we
But
go.
yeah,
I just put
shout
it
out
in
to
our chat.
Yagoda.
So that is excellent. It is wonderful. It is our first official kind of logo background that we have. I think it suits us awesome. It's very clean. It's nice. It's colorful. I dig it. I like it a lot. So thank you so much for doing that for us.
Most welcome.
Beyond that, looks like nothing's really popping in the chat right now, but I'm not terribly sad about it. I'm not upset. We're going to have more people coming in the future, and it's going to be a good time. For now, do we have any closing remarks? Anything else we want to get into?
Mostly just for anyone checking back for future episodes, coming back to here. Thanks for coming back and listening to a little bit more about us. I know I appreciate you all doing so, and regardless if you're a listener, thank you for listening.
Absolutely, yeah. No matter where you're taking this in, whether it's going to be actively live on the 710 cast when we're actually posting these up and showing off, whether you're checking it out as a VOD on Twitch, or whether you have found your way to our YouTube and are looking at it there. Thank you so much for coming in and checking everything out. We really appreciate you. All the places we can be found, it's pretty easy. Everywhere you go, we are the 710 Cast. That's YouTube, that's Twitch, that's Twitter, that's everywhere, that's everything. If you find us, that's where we're going to be at. We also have a Discord server that you guys can come in and interact with us, have fun, post a bunch of cars, ask questions. And you can find that pretty much the same place. We'll go ahead and we'll put those links all in show notes so everybody can double back and get a hold of us, find a way into the community. We're trying to build things up. We're trying to have a lot of fun. It's just a community based around, anything that interests you. Anything that interests you, but mostly anything that deals with engines. I think that's all I've got for now. Do we want to see who we're going to have for the next host?
Yeah, let's figure that out now. How do we decide this?
Oh, I'm going to do it the cheap way.
Oh no. I call heads.
What is?
Oh my gosh, if I can't just...
It's
All
the
right,
third
everybody,
thing
roll
down.
initiative.
It's the third thing down. It's on your screen already. FS coin. Flip
FS
simu.
coin? Oh, there we go. Thank you.
There you go.
All right. Who's who?
I'm heads. Let's
Okay.
flip this.
Tails it is.
Aha! Kaji will be our next leader.
Right on.
So next time around, he will be responsible for giving our intro and kind of guiding us through the show, talking a little bit. But we'll all, of course, be interacting as we tend to do. So congratulations,
indeed.
Kaji. You're next up.
Oh no.
You've got this. Hey, if I manage to fumble my way through it, you've got this.
Right on.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that was a really fun first episode, everybody. Thank you so much for having us put this together and scramble and get it all getting moving, going, flowing.
Yes.
We made it alive. We did it.
We did the thing
We
on
did.
schedule
We did the
and
thing.
overtime.
A little bit over time, but less than I thought we were going to be. So I think we're doing pretty good. If
Alrighty.
there are any other questions about anything, if there's any comments about the format, again, get a hold of us. Let us know. If you think something would be fun, come into our Discord. Give us ideas. We want to have fun, but we also want to entertain all of you. So please help us out with that.
And don't forget
You
to
having
like,
fun means
share,
we
and
had fun.
subscribe.
Absolutely.
Click the thingy and the bell thingy. Do it.
And do the thing with the thing.
Shout us
thing.
out.
You know how
Scream
social
us into
media
the void
works.
of the internet and let people know that we exist.
Notice me.
All right. Well, I do believe that is all for us tonight. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much to all our viewers. We will catch you next time on the 710 Cast.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.